Back with the Inland Off-Road Championship in the final day of racing. That was heat number 2 up in Kameel. One more heat stood between Stompie Meinhardt and Adrian Rutz's Class D Championship aspirations. A class win in heat number 1 the previous day saw them place one hand on the trophy. Could they now walk away with the Class D Championship? Come later on in the day. Their rivals, Tians Dutoy and James O'Mahony, certainly weren't about to give up on trying their best to wrestle the Class D trophy from their main rivals, Stompie Meinhardt and Adrian Rutz. Both teams driving the classic Toyota Land Cruisers. On board now with Glenn Turon and Craig Galvin, now just needing to finish heat number 2 to clinch the ultra-competitive Class G Championship. Their strategy of keeping it steady and staying out of trouble seemed to have worked for the 2020 season, and winning the Class Championship would be just rewards for their approach to the season. On the other side of the coin though, in Class G, the defending champions Vernon Mostert and Brother Leon needed a miracle to be able to retain their number 1 plate in 2020. But as all racers do, they were going to chase right up until the very bitter end, and chase hard indeed. Converted tarmac and track racing specialist Simon Murray alongside a Kim Bergman as navigator were not in the running for the championship, but it was here that they were trying to get themselves ready for the 2021 season, out there having fun, learning a lot, and trying to once again push for the wins at the final stage. In the specials, the two Martins, that's senior and junior from the Van Jaarsveld clan, had a very strong run of it in the season. They were slowly getting to grips with the ex-national championship winning Bat Spec number 4, and oh boy, does it have one of the best sounding motors out there, a 6-litre Chevy V8, ripping it up. Putting in a guest appearance in Terence Marsh's own race car, multiple SA Championship winning driver Evan Hutchinson has his 16-year-old daughter alongside, Taylor, doing the navigating. Mimicking what Terence did with his daughter at the Lichtenberg 250 earlier in the season, it was great to see the father and daughter pairing in action for the first time ever. Just in it for the fun of it. We haven't seen these guys racing for a long time, but with no championship pressures, Barnard and Manette Johnston could sit back and enjoy the ride, so to speak. After some issues in heat number 1, the husband and wife team were hoping for a nice clean run to end off the 2020 season with style. Only recently making the switch from the side-by-sides, Naldo Pieterse seems to be enjoying the V8-powered Zarko a lot now. Alongside him, navigator Rowan van Deventer is also getting to grips with the notes quite nicely. The terrain at Kameel seemed to really suit the big tyres and muscular power of the specials. Back on the production vehicle sides, Jannie Visser and Donnie Moret together for the last time as driver and navigator at this event. We're another pairing hoping for a trouble-free outing. Donnie will take the reins of his own Ford Ranger in Class T next year, and the year spent alongside seasoned and experienced Jannie could stand him now in very good stead for the future. After the troubles in heat number 1 on day 1 of the Kameel, now still running with only rear-wheel drive instead of the usual 4-wheel drive on the Class Gs, Christo Rose and Honor Olivier were going to do their best, giving their Can-Am Maverick one last outing before also making the switch across to a Class T bucky, the Ford Ranger, for 2021. Still in with a shout of a 3rd place in the side-by-side Class G Championship, Aldi Erasmus and André Geldeneys wanted to put the DNF of heat number 1 behind them and concentrate on the road ahead, with the race route playing right into the capabilities of the high stance on the Polaris Razor. For the D20, fast but not consistent was the description. With issues encountered in heat number 1, Johan Besson was looking to go as hard as possible, with Gerry Prinsloo as navigator, keeping them pointed in the right direction most of the time. The 17-year-old Basil, son of Kearney Besaidnout, who raced heat number 1, was looking forward, although nervously so, to making his racing debut. It helps though to have an experienced navigator in the form of Rickers Hutting alongside him for the ride. Back to the specials, and Sean Kruger alongside Johan Becker seem to be getting to grips with their Jimco quite nicely in 2020. Perhaps not the fastest in terms of sheer outright speed. They are becoming consistent though, and therein lies the key for a good cross-country and off-road championship season. One wonders if Jeff Minott, regular national championship navigator, is perhaps considering a change of seat based on his driving performance in heat number 1 so far. Great to see Jeff on the wheel of one of the small buggies. Hein Kruger reunited with his navigator for one last season, Paul Moret. Not in the running for the championship honours, but what better way to end the fun of the last season at the very final race. One last hurrah. Still piloting one of the older generation side-by-sides in the Class G Can-Ams, Stefan Elof and Jarpi Brunet were simply out there having some fun to do what they could. It was a long route, and it would be a tough and testing day in one of the older spec, slightly lower powered Can-Ams. Having already creamed the Class E Championship, Johan Versa and Jerry Besson had more than a hand on the overall production vehicle championship at this stage. Could they, though, achieve the golden season and have a clean sweep in 2020, going undefeated? Having missed out on a number of races this season, Dolph de Toy showed in heat number 1 that he's not lost any of his speed during his downtime. Even with son Daniel as rookie navigator along for the ride, they still showed form. Father and son pairing Oki and Jandre Kruger have also robbed home in the number 1 position for their championship for the Class Fs, but still had hopes of an outright chance in the overall championship. Everyone was not ready to give up the ghost just yet. And the girls team of Carleen Croshaw and Marina van Skalkwyk also had their Class B championship sewn up, wrapped up tightly in a bow. But the question mark was for the special vehicle overalls to see if they could get the double-doubles. They were up against the boys once again. Here's a breakdown of the final prologue results. 10K's done, another almost 250 still to go. Visser and Fenter topping the charts once again, with Roberts and Kerner close, just 8 seconds off their back wheel. The Cox chasing them down, and then de Klerk doing the numbers in the number 4 spot. Fastest of the open wheels, a great drive coming out of Simon Murray and Kim Bergman. They topped the charts for the specials as well as the side-by-sides, taking 8th overall, setting up a great day at the office for them. And look at how many Class Gs were peppered inside of the top 15. Join us after the break as we go racing for the final time. Heat number 2 at Kameel.